Mach N Cheese had another unscheduled warranty repair. What happened this time? Stick around, I'll let you know.
Mach N Cheese!
So, I was going and picking up some takeout food, and because it was a bit smelly, I put it in my Frunk, closed my hood, drove home, went to open the Frunk or open my hood in order to get my food out, and I had a problem. So the Mach-E has a hood like most cars with two latches on it. The first latch like unlatches it, and then the second latch is kind of a safety to make sure your hood stays secure and doesn't open while you're driving. On the Mach-E, that hood is electronic. You'll hear like the two-stage kind of both latches unlatching to then allow you to open up the hood. So what happened with me when I got home with my food is that I went to open my Frunk, and the first latch unlatched, but then you heard the second latch not unlatch, which was kind of puzzling to me. I went to try and open the hood and I couldn't. And I also couldn't close the hood and have it closed. So I was kind of stuck in this like limbo state where my car had its hood half open, half closed, and you couldn't get it closed and you couldn't get it open. The car wasn't drivable around in this kind of state. The car made all sorts of warning noises saying that your Frunk was open and you shouldn't be driving with the Frunk open. I think it limited your speed as well. But certainly I didn't feel comfortable driving it around at any kind of speed like on the highway. So really wasn't drivable. I had to take it to the dealer. So I took it to the dealer. They took one look at it and agreed with me that that was not working as intended and up to spec. They said they would take a look at it while I left it during the day, order the parts, figure out how to close my hood, and then let me take the car home and wait for the parts to come in. But that's not actually what occurred. Unfortunately, to get into the hood and to even look at what was going on there, they had to cut the striker, which is the hook on the top of the hood or on the bottom of the hood that allows it to actually latch down. So they had to cut that and destroy it. And that meant that basically the hood was unusable, it was undrivable until they got another striker in to replace it. So the end result is my car sat in the dealer for 6 days because my hood wouldn't close and latch up in order for them to get the 4 parts they needed in order to fix it. The parts came in separately, but they had to replace all of them for the safety systems of the hood to remain latched and working up to spec. All right, well, you'll say in the end, like, what's going on here? Why did this happen? I mean, it's not the first time that we've seen a hood on a car. Like, what is it about this that caused this to malfunction? I think it came down to 3 factors. I mean, first, like, you know, Ford has made cars with hoods before. You know, they've had the Model T over 100 years ago. That had a hood. Yeah, of course, like, you didn't use an app to get in the car. I think what's different here is that, you know, if you have a car that has a Frunk in the front instead of an internal combustion engine, you're going to be opening that hood a lot more than the traditional Ford ICE car. And even if, like, you're checking your oil religiously on your Ford internal combustion car, you're not going to open your hood anywhere near as much as I do just checking on my shrimp cocktail that I leave in there for tailgating situations.
Shrimp.
Anyway, seriously, I'm not sure that Ford did all the engineering work to think about the hood being used far more than it usually would be. Okay, that's number 1. Let's talk about, I think, reason number 2. Reason number 2 is that this is a new type of system for Ford in that, you know, usually in typical cars, you have a double latch system on the hood, but it's one that the first one you pull from internally in the car to unlatch the main mechanism holding the hood down. But then you have to reach your hand in the front and lift up a second latch in order to get that hood to release and open. And that's kind of their fail-safe safety procedure to make sure the hood doesn't open by its own or inadvertently. On the Mach-E, that two latch system isn't manual. It's not two separate steps that are done manually by the driver. It's actually done electronically. So they have what they call an actuator, an electronic actuator, that's pulling that cable to unlock both latches. And that opens up these other possibilities in the Mach-E of how you can open the hood and get at your frunk in a more convenient way. So real quick, there's first a traditional latch that's in the driver footwell, and you pull that twice and that allows you to get into the hood. The second way is by going on the main infotainment screen. You can pull down settings, and there's one in there right away for controls that allows you to press a little icon of a hood opening that unlatches the hood. The third way of doing this is on the B pillar of the car. There's a numeric keypad, and I think Ford is one of the only, if not the only manufacturer to have this. But there's a secret way after you type in your code to unlock the doors. If you hit the 7-8 key, that will then pop your hood in the same type of way. So you can get into your frunk if you're outside your car. It's super convenient. And the final way is through the Ford Pass app on your mobile phone. You'll see that there's a little button at the bottom with that same icon to open your hood, and that's a way to get in your frunk from there. All right, so the second reason, as I just talked about, is that these are new frontiers of Ford of being able to control and open a body latched part of the car electronically. And so I think there's some learning there that they didn't have the first time. The third and final reason you have going on here, they're actually like these stoppers inside of the hood that the hood rests on, and they provide the final tension to be able to latch and close with some force the hood when you bring it down. And these are actually adjustable. And I think they weren't actually adjusted, at least in my car, properly from the factory. I didn't know that they even existed and that I could adjust them. But let me show you. Here are the components on both sides of the frunk here, and here's the one on the right side, the driver's side. And they both are on basically a screw that you can raise by turning counterclockwise and lowering by turning clockwise. In my car, the driver's side one was all the way up, cranked almost to being able to come off. And the one on the left side was pretty much at the bottom. I moved these both to the bottom, basically, because I don't want to have a lot of tension that requires you to use a lot of force in order to get through these stoppers and get the hood latched, the striker latched onto the latch that's in there. So as a result, when they weren't adjusted properly, I was kind of having to really slam my hood down in order for it to catch and to close. And so I think that probably wasn't great for the latch mechanism to have those stoppers not adjusted properly. So in the end, I think these stoppers provided that third piece of the puzzle that really contributed to this mechanism failing, because they really weren't set up to have me not use a lot of force to close my frunk. All right, so here's the best technique I found in order to close the frunk without using a lot of force and hopefully without getting these parts out of alignment or to malfunction again. So here's the frunk, it's open. I'm gonna close the frunk and let it rest on the top of the latch. So I didn't use any force here in closing it. I closed it very gently. Now if you look at the frunk itself, and I'll show you right here, it's like this part where the straight part starts on an angle and curving in. You want to put your hands right on either side, on this side and on this side, on the straight part of the hood. So let me show you what I do. I'm using not a lot of force, but right here on either side of the front part of the hood, and I'm going to push down equally at the same time, not with a lot of force, but not slowly, just like that, and it locks. And these are with the stoppers all the way down, not any height on the stoppers. And it seems to reliably close and reliably open. Well, so after 6 days at the dealer, my car is back and as good as new, or actually better than it was delivered to me new. My frunk seems to be working again. And I think my strategy of lowering those stoppers down to their lowest level and then gently closing my hood as best I can is kind of going to be my strategy going forward. Well, I hope this helps you if you have a Mach-E to avoid your car befalling the same fate as mine and having the same malfunction. Well, as they say, not all adventures are pleasant, and I hope that you're having pleasant ones with your car, and I'll see you on the next video. Take care.